This is Wesley.
This is Ka'shenia.
And we would like to welcome you to
the Underground Geek Shack. So today's going to be an interesting episode because we're not just talking about like one particular anime.
We might be talking about multiple anime today.
Oh, we're definitely talking about multiple anime today. So did you want to introduce the topic?
So we are... Is it fair to have an anime movie, but then do you think that it should still be a part of the series?
Alright, so yeah. I think the term, from what I've seen, is anime movie tie-ins. I think that's what it's called.
I think, yeah.
So...
Or canon adjacent or what.
Yeah, canon adjacent. There you go. There you go.
There we
Look
go.
At you, bud. Yeah. You're just like, what's the term? What's the term? But, so why are we talking about this? Well, because of some recent events. We feel like this should be a discussion that's worth talking about. So, what do we mean by this? Kingdom Hearts fans, you also know this.
Yep.
So, don't you find it frustrating how we have Sora?
Mm-hmm.
He does all of this. He gets strong. Okay, Kingdom Hearts 1, he gets really, really strong, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets to Castle Oblivion. All of a sudden, can't use all of his powers anymore because of the rules of Castle Oblivion.
Yep.
I'm just kind of like, but wait, I was gliding through the air. I was zipping and dipping and dodging. And one, what do you mean I can't use my powers? Because of Castle Oblivion. And you'll slowly start losing your memories. What? I was kind of like, that's kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I believe you. So then we get through Chain of Memories.
Mm-hmm.
We get to Kingdom Hearts 2. We get strong again. We get even stronger because we unlock they give us the suit that we have the different modes.
Yeah.
I'm just like, cool, that's amazing. We lose all of that because of Dream Drop Distance.
Yep, definitely in Dream Drop Distance.
And then we go on to 3. And then in 3, for those of you who've played the game, Sora's technically dead.
Erased.
So when we get to 4, we've already seen that he wakes up in an apartment building. This is not a talk about Kingdom Hearts 4.
He gets a job.
He gets a job. We see his feet. We see not Staravia, that's a freaking Pokeball.
Pokemon?
Streliza, I do believe that's where her name is.
Streliza.
But what I'm getting at is, every time a new piece of media comes out when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, for some reason there has to be an explanation as to why we're back at square one, even though we can do these things and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it frustrating, and I kind of find it frustrating how in some anime, I can't exactly pinpoint when that anime happened or events will happen in the anime, but in the movie.
Yeah.
But when we continue on into the anime,
it's like the events never happened.
So let's say we've done this example, I'm going to say right now, but I'll talk more about it in depth, is when in My Hero Academia, the second movie, where they're all on the island.
2 Heroes Rising,
yeah. Heroes Rising,
yeah.
Because 2 Heroes was the first one.
Yeah.
It goes 2 Heroes, Heroes Rising, World's Mission.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm so surprised I remember that.
I get the names mixed up sometimes.
Oh my god. But in Heroes Rising, when we reach that ultimate climax against 9 and freaking Deku and Bakugo, Deku starts the process to switch to transfer over One for All to Bakugo, and then they do the double smash, and it's like freaking epic. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, how are they going to continue this in the anime? This is really epic. This is how they write it off. Bakugo passes out before the transfer could complete. Okay. Also, Bakugo doesn't remember it. What? You mean to tell me that we've achieved this ultimate, like, greatest form ever, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen? It's written off. It's so one-off, and it's squished into just this movie. And you can tell this happened like maybe slightly after season 3 because Naruto because
whoa, different protagonist.
Because Deku knows Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'll talk about that more, but I kind of find it a little bit frustrating. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
So like okay, one, I like in all honesty, I like watching the movies because it's.
I mean,
it's something that
I like the movies as well. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't like the movies.
It's like when it comes into the canonicity of the series, right?
Yeah,
and then it's like, wait a minute, but this happened in the movie. Mm-hmm. Why isn't it happening? Why can't you recreate that same process, that same power up type thing that you had before?
Yeah, in
this situation you have now.
Like, we don't have an explanation for that.
Yeah. And it's just like, why?
You did it once before.
You did one thing once before, and now you can't?
So we have some egregious examples, and I feel like Wesley can talk about this a little bit more than I can. I've asked you, and you told me. Yeah. So he's going to talk about some movies from the Dragon Ball series and the Naruto series. Which one do you want to start off with?
Let me do Naruto. Nah, I'll save Naruto. Let me do Dragon Ball first.
We'll do Dragon Ball first. All right. So, do you know about how many movies came out for the whole Dragon Ball series?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
I can't even.
You can't even name them all.
I can't even count.
So, the ones today, talk about when they came out and for which series, because I know there's multiple series of Dragon Ball.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is Dragon Ball Z, the legendary Super Saiyan Broly.
Okay.
Which I came out when I was a kid. Because I remember watching it on Nicktoons.
Nicktoons?
Yeah, Nicktoons.
Sorry. When I knew about Dragon Ball, it was coming out on Toonami.
Both. Because it came out on Toonami and on Nicktoons.
Interesting.
Which was weird.
Continue.
But, I remember watching it, and at this point, we were like, me being a kid, I'm like, oh, snap, it's Goku, he can get through anything, right?
Yeah.
And then you have this big, overarching force known as Broly, this immovable object.
Yes.
And then you're just like, who the heck? Like, at first he's like a little scrawny looking dude, a little bit muscular, but you're like, this dude looks like a wimp. He can't do anything. And then
listen, I don't watch much of Dragon Ball, but I know about Broly.
like when you first see him, because he has like a little crown and everything, he looks like a wimp, and you're like, dude, are you really a Saiyan? You look like a wimp. And then until he has his father Paragus with the scar and everything.
Paragus.
And he goes, yes, this is my son Broly. And I'm like, alright, why you gotta name him Broly? Like, you could, like, alright. And so, he's like, Broly has this unnatural talent to, learn, to adapt to fighting as he, goes. So he powers up to Super Saiyan. His Super Saiyan transformation is a little cool. It's blue hair instead of the usual yellow hair.
Yeah.
And then like, he, they're fighting and everything, they're sparring, and then at one point, Goku gets hurt really badly. Like, he gets, punched in the, chest to the point where he screams. And then, and it's like a blood-curdling scream. Okay. And you're like, oh my god. And that triggers something in Broly, but not yet. Because then, Vegeta's over here asking Paragus about, how did Broly come to be and everything like that. And then, why is you and Broly only the ones stuck on this planet? And then Paragus says, there was an incident that happened to Broly when he was a baby. And then you're like, alright.
Okay.
And then, Vegeta's like, damn that cat. He's like, something, darn it, Kakarot. And then Paragus is like, you shouldn't say that name around Broly. And he goes, no, that's his birth name. His name is Kakarot. And then Paragus is like, please stop. Please stop. Stop saying that name. And so, and then Vegeta looks at Goku, and Goku's like, come on, Vegeta, let's spar. And then he goes, damn it, Kakarot. And then when he says it in front of Broly. Oh. And Broly's like, Kakarot? And then he just goes ballistic. And so, you're like, me as a kid. And then me as a kid, I'm like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me this man goes into this legendary state due to a little baby crying too loudly? It was a baby! And so, Broly just goes on a rampage. Broly goes on a rampage. And so, he proceeds to body every last Z warrior that we have. He bodied Goku, Trunks, Gohan, Piccolo, and then Vegeta just standing on a cliffside. He goes, this man is too powerful. We can't proceed to beat him. We are going to die. And then Piccolo walks over, slaps some sense into Vegeta, and he goes, you are the Prince of Saiyans. Act like it. And then Piccolo actually flies back into the fight, proceeds to get bodied again.
Oh my god!
And then Vegeta's like, I ain't moving from this spot, boy.
I'm
not moving.
I am not an immovable object.
And then Trunks proceeds to get bodied, and then something clicks in Vegeta, and he goes, alright, you hurt my son. I'm going in. And then he goes in.
Finally?
Finally. And you're like,
it took your son getting bodied.
And then you're like, now you decide to go in. So he goes in. He's trying to do some damage and everything. Vegeta gets bodied too. And then, yep. And then, so that whole thing happens. Broly gets destroyed. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not rehashing that whole film. So, then we have Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Wait, so before that, actually, you know what? This is a great, segue into that movie. So, after that movie's come out, and you said this came out during the Z phase, was Broly ever mentioned within the anime?
Nope.
What?
Nope.
He was just relegated to a movie?
Multiple movies, actually.
Well, yeah.
Because you had Broly, you had the Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, Broly Second Coming, which was a really cool film because it didn't feature Goku at all. Only people who were there, because this is after Goku, is in Other World and everything. So Goku's long gone. So then Gohan is now the protector of Earth.
Okay.
So now you have Gohan, Goten, and Trunks.
Wait, so does Trunks remember Broly in this movie?
This is this is Kid Trunks, not Future
Trunks.
Oh,
that's right. I forget about the whole freaking
Kid Trunks
thing.
This is Kid Trunks' first time ever seeing Broly.
Wait, hold on. Wait a second, Wesley. Hold up. I'm sorry. It's what? To not make it, I don't know. Okay, because my question was, when it came to the other Broly movie that you're about to talk about, did any of the characters, I'm assuming that Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and all of them were probably in the movie you're about, not this one that you're talking about right now, but in the other one. This is so weird.
So, okay, so you're asking if Trunks, Vegeta, Goku, Gohan, and Piccolo are in Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Yeah, in Dragon Ball Super Broly, did they remember him?
No.
But Z follows into Super, or is Super a prequel of Z?
Super is kind of like a mishmash of different things.
So what you're telling me is
what I'm telling is basically, so because there are some things that is like canon, but then there are some things that it's been retconned. There's a lot of stuff that's been retconned. So you can see Z as, in and of itself, the Dragon Ball Z timeline.
Okay.
So everything from I don't know why I put it.
Wesley, this sounds like the Zelda timeline. It just does not make sense.
It does not. But that's what I'm gonna call the Z timeline. And then you have the GT timeline.
Okay.
Which people don't like to talk about the GT timeline.
We don't speak about GT.
And then we have the Super timeline, which Super is trying to now not mitigate, but trying to draw from Z and GT.
Ooh, okay.
So it's trying to bring both of those things in together. It's a little weird.
Is the whole Dragon Ball series just retelling the same story?
No, they put in some new stuff. Remember Goku Black?
Be careful! He's not black! That was a poorly written line.
But it was
Don't
needed.
shoot!
No, but going on with I didn't mean to go on that
yeah,
level.
no, sorry. But talk about Dragon Ball Super Broly.
In Dragon Ball Super Broly, they retell Broly, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, but they do a better job at explaining his backstory.
Okay.
So they retold the backstory, but this time it wasn't because a baby cried too much. It was because Paragus decided that, because Paragus was like, oh, you know, my son has been born, he's really happy and everything. King Vegeta of Planet Vegeta is like, oh, your son has a higher power level than mine? I don't think so. Get out of my planet.
Petty.
And so...
I mean, it makes sense.
Paragus is like, no, he will be loyal, he will serve, Prince Vegeta and everything. And King Vegeta's like, so? Your son has a higher power level than my son. Your son is a threat to the rest of us. And he is like, therefore, you need to go.
Oh.
So he proceeds to literally have someone follow Paragus' ship just to take him and Broly out.
Okay, so also to let y'all guys know, I don't know anything about the Dragon Ball series. I know some characters. Mm-hmm. I know maybe a couple of plot points. I know that Vegeta is the Prince of all Saiyans. Mm-hmm. Like, that's basically, like, my full knowledge. I know about Piccolo. I know about Cell. I know their names, and I know what characters they are. Mm-hmm. But hearing, like, the lore... What... Homeboy got mad because his son was stronger than his son, who was an infant. Mm-hmm. What?
And so, so they go off to this other planet and everything. Mm-hmm. Planet Vegeta gets destroyed, and Frieza.
That sucks.
I wonder why.
Hurts bad.
And so then Frieza comes and he's like, oh, he sees Paragus. He goes, oh, you must be a Saiyan. And Frieza doesn't like Saiyans. And then he's like, all right, I'm gonna kill you. And then
he's like, try.
And so Paragus is like, no, wait, I have a son. And he's like, all right, and I'll kill your son too. And,
oh my God.
And Frieza was ruthless. And so, and then Paragus is like, no, please, my son has a really high power level, and he can be of some really great use to you. And then
he sold off his son.
And so Frieza's like, oh, really? And then he was like, all right, let's spar a little bit. So him and Broly, this is base form Broly, by the way, spar for a little. Well, technically, he fights some of the minions and takes most of them out. And Frieza's like, all right, cool. You are now part of my Frieza Force. And then they're like, they're touring around. Broly gets introduced to Chile and some other guy, and then they're like, oh, where are we going? We're going to Earth. And Frieza's like, yeah, I want my revenge on Goku. And so then they get down to Earth, and then, you see Vegeta and Goku and everything, and this is Vegeta's first time on screen transforming into a Super Saiyan God. And so, because all we knew was that Goku could transform into a god. Okay. We didn't know Vegeta could.
Okay.
So then Vegeta transforms into a god. Goku is trying to, power up and everything. And so when he's powering up, he goes from Super Saiyan God. There's a little bit of silver that shows up. So it's like him going into Ultra Instinct a little bit. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh my god, the hype is real. He about to go into Ultra Instinct to fight on freaking Broly. And he doesn't. He goes into Super Saiyan Blue.
Okay.
And I was like, alright, that's a little bit of a tease, but I'm alright with it.
So...
And then Broly comes in, then they just start throwing hands, and then it actually takes a fusion, Gogeta, to come in and fight Broly to the point where they break reality. They break reality, okay. And then they fight in another dimension, break that dimension, fly back into regular reality. So they fight, and then, instead of them destroying Broly, they just send Broly back to the planet that he was on. But here's the thing, right? Goku says, hey, I will come back and see you. We can train and get your, all that rage that you had out. So then you can actually learn how to control that berserker state that you're in.
So
also, Broly threw hands with Frieza, which was cool because they're sitting here flying because they're like, oh snap, the fusion wore off.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, they're like, oh, we need time to fuse. So instead of them fighting Broly, at the same time, they're like, all right, let's go find someone else to handle Broly while we go and fuse. So they're flying around, and they're like, because Frieza's like, Broly, look, your father's been slain, because Frieza killed Paragus. And he's like, huh. He's like, huh. Frieza's like, huh. Broly seems to be doing good, but I want to see what more power I can draw from him. And he looks at Paragus. He goes, all right, Paragus, you're no longer useful to me. Die. Bam. And then he kills Paragus, and then he goes, look, your father's been slain! Which sends Broly into an even madder state, where it's like, all the power actually just comes out, so now he's actually becoming the legendary Super Saiyan Broly that we all know.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh snap, he's learning as he fights, but now he's even more mad. We are in trouble. And then they fly. So Goku and Vegeta are over here flying, and then they find Frieza. They're like, "Yo, Frieza, heads up!" And both of them dip, and Broly just comes in and just starts pounding on Frieza.
Oh,
and then they actually get the chance to fuse. So then, that's when Vegeta comes into play. But then, Broly still makes an appearance within
the anime.
Not the anime.
He only makes appearances
within the next film, Super.
Okay.
Superhero.
Okay.
And so then you at least know, alright, Broly's still canon to the world of Super. It's just not in the way that we think.
Yeah, so, okay, but that's my thing, is like, why is he only relegated to just the movies?
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
So, is he... I don't think you read the manga. Never mind, I don't know if I can ask you about the manga.
No, you can.
I was gonna say, is Broly ever, really mentioned within the manga?
Nope.
What?
No, not... At the current point that we're in now, at the current arc we're in, nope.
Was he ever mentioned at all?
Nope.
Is the series following the manga?
Hopefully, yes. Because we still got multiple arcs we still got to get through, and I'm waiting for him.
Broly's an anime only, but he's not even in the anime. He's only in the movies.
So the only reference made to Broly before Dragon Ball Super Broly came out was during the Tournament of Power.
Okay.
Where we have Universe 7, which is our Z Warriors, Goku, Gohan, and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then we have Universe 11, which is basically the Saiyan race, because they have Saiyans. And it's the whole thing of them being Saiyans, I'm alright with. So we actually get to see female Saiyans for once.
Mm-hmm.
Totally alright with that.
Yes.
Remember, Planet Vegeta got wiped.
Yeah.
So any chance of us seeing a female Saiyan actually go Super Saiyan? Gone.
Okay.
So their whole thing of going Super Saiyan is a little bit weird. Because it's not tap into the rage hidden within your heart and everything like that. No. Universe 11 was, I got a tingling feeling on my back. You're like, that doesn't make any sense, but alright. And so you have Kale and Khalifa.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Kale, Khalifa is think of Khalifa as a female version of Goku.
Okay.
Kamba, the male version of Vegeta.
Okay.
Just a little scrawny.
A little bit.
And then you have Kale. Freaking Kale. She's this tall chick, red freaking t-shirt, skirt. She looks harmless.
Mm-hmm.
I say she looks harmless. She's very shy. Mm-hmm. She doesn't like it, and when anyone the only person she talks to is Khalifa. Anyone who tries to get in between her and Khalifa, she gets mad.
Okay.
And so then she goes mad. She gets mad, and then she is able to control her Super Saiyan state, which is all right.
Mm.
Then there's a point where, during the Tournament of Power, where Khalifa only wants to fight Goku.
Okay.
Only because Goku is teaching, basically, through fighting, he's teaching her how to transform. So he, they're fighting in base form.
Mm-hmm.
So Goku's, throwing hands and everything, and he says, alright, time to take it up a notch. He transforms into Super Saiyan.
Okay.
Teaches her how to transform into Super Saiyan. Well, technically, Kamba teaches her how to transform into Super Saiyan. She transforms into Super. She's like, yeah, I already know how to do that. And then she's like, teach me something else. So he goes to Super Saiyan 2. She goes to Super Saiyan 2. Okay. He goes to Super Saiyan 3. She doesn't go to Super Saiyan 3. Only because he goes to Super Saiyan 3 for a split second. And then turns it off.
What?
And he goes, I would love to fight you.
These power levels, man.
He goes, I would love to fight you in this state, but it consumes too much ki. It consumes too much stamina, which they need for the tournament.
Yeah.
And so she's like, there's a Super Saiyan 3? And then he's like, alright, enough joking around. And he turns into God. And then she was like, there's a God level? Let me do that. And then he's like, nope, you're not on this level yet. And then he goes Super Saiyan Blue. And she goes, there's a level before that? She's like, teach me that. And then he's like, yeah, nope, you're still not on my level. What? And so, at that point, Kale sees this. And she goes ballistic. Because she's like, no, I only want Khalifa to be with me. Not you.
My
and then
God.
She just starts wrecking every single opponent on the tournament. And so she's going after other universes are targeting Kale now. Kale's just ripping through people. You can't kill anyone, because if you kill someone, your whole universe is just wiped.
Disqualified,
just wiped from existence.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And so, Kale is just dogging everyone, and then throwing people off the freaking Tournament of Power platform, and then, everyone's like, they just look at her, and then Vegeta goes, oh no. He goes, we have to stop her.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone's like, why? And then they're like, she's doing the work for us. We don't have to, step in. We're pretty much set. Let her do all the work, and then we'll take out Universe 11. Plain and simple. I was like, yeah, that makes a good point. I was like, that makes a good point, pretty much. And then they're like, no, this power feels very familiar.
And that's
the hint.
That's
to
the
Broly.
reference.
And you're like, yo, that's the female version of Broly. That's the female version of Broly.
And the Tournament of Power was actually anime episodes, right?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Broly isn't even he's never referenced by name, never seen visually in the anime series, yet we have the female version of him, and we're like, that's it? That's him in? Okay.
And then somehow she tames the Berserker state, and I'm like, is this a hint at the fact that Broly can now do that? Please
but we
have to wait. And I'm like, alright, fine.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
that's the whole Z movie comparison. We're gonna shelf that for now. And then we have Naruto.
Yeah, okay. So with Naruto, of course, there was a bunch of movies.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I remember when I first started watching Naruto, like I told you, I got to the Chunin exam.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really stick to it after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when the first Naruto movie came out, it was all over Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network was talking about it all the time. The only thing I can truly remember from it is that Sasuke does this really epic fire mouth thing, and I'm just kind of that's all I remember, dude. That's my memory.
It's Fireball Jutsu or Phoenix Fire, Phoenix Flower, Fireball Jutsu.
He just kind of brah! That's all I remember.
So with Naruto, the one film that I liked was The Valley of the Snow Princess.
Okay.
That one was interesting because it's young Naruto.
Yeah.
And so, it's this film crew trying to film this epic movie documentary type thing for their village. And then the village has a hit. Actually, the princess has a hit out on her to take out the princess. And then there comes a point where Team 7, Naruto, Sakura,
Sasuke and
Kakashi,
Kakashi.
Have to step in and become the bodyguards to this princess. And so, throughout most of this film, they get attacked, obviously, by the, assailants and everything. And then Naruto gets, captured.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone else is like, all right, we have to step in to save protect the princess with our very lives. Literally, with their life. People drop like flies on this one.
Okay.
And I'm like, you have weapons like that? What the heck? And there comes a point where Naruto can't use his chakra anymore. He breaks through by... We'll just call it what it is. Plot armor.
Okay, so hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So before this point of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there a... I know because I played like a Naruto game that was talking about the anime. It's like kind of following the anime where he meets Jiraiya.
This is
Probably
way before he meets Jiraiya.
Oh, so this is way before he meets Jiraiya. Because I know like when he meets Jiraiya.
No. Back it up, Wes. Yep, because he meets Jiraiya, because Jiraiya's the one who teaches him how to do the Rasengan.
Yeah, because I know when he meets Jiraiya basically like seals the power of the Nine Tails, because he can tell that Naruto can't like use it all that well yet.
Mm-hmm.
He still has to like contain it. So I didn't get past that point. I don't know if Naruto has broken through that seal, but by the time this movie came out, has he broken through that seal before? Or does he still
not to the point where not to the point where the cloak is actually forming on him.
Okay.
That's the only reason why Jiraiya seals that part of the Nine Tails, because if the cloak actually starts coming into effect, that means Naruto's lost control. The Nine Tails is about to come out. Once you have 4 tails, that's when you're actually like engulfed in like red chakra type thing.
Before,
he has red eyes and
So in this movie, he's sealed, so he gets double sealed.
So at this point, he has he breaks through the little prism thing that he has, and he's like, all right. I'm skipping a lot through this, but point being, climactic fight comes into play, and Naruto gets slammed into a pillar of ice, and then the princess comes running out trying to do some motivational talk no jutsu type thing.
Talk no jutsu
to Naruto, and she's like, "I need you. You're the one that's supposed to be protecting me," and everything like that.
Oh my god!
And he was like, "Will you just shut up?" And so, he gets up and then he, forms the Rasengan and everything, brings out 2 clones, makes the type thing with the, Rasengan, and then he goes to the big bad. And so, they're throwing hands. He sends out his clones, so his clones are fighting while he's charging the Rasengan.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he starts running toward the guy with the Rasengan. Sun is peeking up out of the clouds, hits the pillar of ice, like these little column things of ice, and then forms a rainbow, goes into the freaking Rasengan, turns it into a freaking rainbow Rasengan, and then Naruto's running, he looks at it, sees that the rainbow effect is going on, and he says, he was about to say Rasengan, he goes, no, rainbow Rasengan, puts it into the dude's chest, proceeds to turn it, which we've never seen before.
Okay.
He turns it and then just sends all the pins and needles through chakra into this dude, killing him.
Okay.
And then he ends up in the hospital, and then, Sasuke comes in, he goes, "Oh, you're finally awake. Here, I got you a present." Giving him a photo, and it says, "To Naruto." And it's, from the princess and everything. And he's like, "Really?" And then you hear the princess outside just laughing. And I'm like, wait. You were outside the entire time and you couldn't bother to walk in?
So, let me ask this.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rainbow Rasengan, is that ever kind of like mentioned anytime outside of the anime? Or if it ever is mentioned, does Naruto kind of be like, I've done this once before?
Nope.
Wait, is Rainbow Rasengan ever said within the anime? Does he do things powerful than the Rainbow Rasengan?
Yes.
What? No.
So like he's done wrestling gun. Then like as he gets older, he's done. Not only that, he still has the wrestling gun in his toolkit. Now he has the wrestling shuriken, which he made with wind nature and everything spinning around to make the shuriken type thing. Then at one point, when he gets Sage mode, he throws the Rasengan shuriken.
So that's what I'm kind of like talking about right there, is the fact that we've seen like this very powerful move, and you're just kind of like, oh my god, this is going to be part of Naruto's toolkit in the future. I can't wait to see it again. Right? Never seen again.
Never seen again.
Now I know you said you had a couple more Naruto movies, and I actually have a Boruto movie that I want to mention.
The other one was I'm trying to figure if I wanted to tell you the one with Menma or if I want to tell you the one with that I told you off camera.
You can talk about the one that we talked about off camera.
I don't know the exact. It was Naruto and the.
It was a part of Naruto Shippuden.
Naruto Shippuden, and it was the. It was like the curse of something. I can't remember the exact name.
But in this one, basically, he meets his parents.
No. That's the one with Menma. It was that.
Oh.
No. Screw it. I'll tell you both. But the curse one that I was telling you about. So with that one, you have Naruto, Sasuke. No, way before. Sasuke already dipped from the village.
Yeah, so he left from the village.
So at this point, you have
he
Naruto.
Goes and commits genocide.
He goes to Orochimaru. But so at this point, you have Naruto, Sai, Sakura, and I think Kakashi. Yeah. Got Kakashi. Then you had Lee, Tenten, and Neji. And
this was before he died.
Yeah, right. And then you also have Guy. And at this point, they have to go, be a bodyguard to this princess. So
another princess.
And so at this point, she has a vision because she has like this. It's weird. It's like something that's like in her blood, but like she has this vision. Like any vision that she has comes true, and she has like one retainer, and all the other retainers have died in the presence of the princess for some strange reason. Okay. But this is the last remaining retainer that she has, and so the guy, not the guy, but like Naruto was like, all right, he goes in, he's like, all right, where's this snot-nosed princess at or whatever? But like he's like, oh, where's the princess? I want to meet her and everything. And so she's like, you, blonde hair, spiky, you're going to die. And then I'm like, wait, what? Whoa. What? And she's like, yeah, I've already seen it. You're gonna die. And then he's like, yeah, that's a funny joke, right? Yeah. And then she's like, I don't think she's joking, man. Her face hasn't there's no smile on that face. And so I'm just like, he can't die though, right?
We still have the rest of Shippuden.
Yeah. I was like, who's gonna become the main character? Is it Konohamaru? And so, she's like, yeah, you're gonna die. And so he runs into the kitchen, puts on this freaking pots and pans and everything, comes walking out. He goes, nothing's gonna get past my armor now. And I'm like, my dude, you have a pot for a helmet? And I'm like, what are you doing? And even everyone's like, dude, what are you doing? You have chakra. Why are you using pots and pans? So, fast forward to this, fight. I'm fast forwarding a lot through this, but we get to this fight, and you have like these big stone soldiers type thing, and the stone soldiers almost remind me of the something dynasty.
From the Han. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the terracotta soldiers. Yeah.
And so that's basically what Naruto has to fight. So he brings out a whole bunch of shadow clones and everything. Yeah. And so one thing that the princess says is you need to make your shadow clones look more real. Okay. And so keep that in mind. And so the fight's going on, and so the princess is already being captured and everything. So now it's Naruto's job to go save her. Yeah. So Naruto goes in with all of his shadow clones and everything. We're throwing Rasengans and everything, throwing punches and everything. And at one point, the princess starts falling. And so you're like, she's gonna die because at the bottom is lava. So if she hits it, she gonna die. And so the big bad's like, once she dies, the world's all mine and everything like this. The world will fall to chaos or whatever. What? And I'm like, what is going on here? And so she's falling, and then Naruto jumps. You think it's actually Naruto because remember the clones.
Yeah, the clones.
And so Naruto jumps in, catches her. He says, "Gotcha," and then proceeds to jump even further off of one of the other clones to, try and get a better, foothold.
Get more, distance.
And then he proceeds to get pierced through the chest, and then she falls, and he looks at her as, she's reaching out her hand, and she goes, "I leave it up to you, Naruto." And then the real Naruto, at that point, the clone just disappears. And so she's like, "What?" And, she's falling, she's like, what?
That was my vision, dude.
She's like, this is where the vision ends. He straight up dies, and then the clone just poofs.
Of course.
And then the real Naruto comes up from behind. He goes, "I'm not gonna let that happen." Rassing onto the back of the dude's freaking back, and then, he, because that was actually one of the other clones. The real Naruto still catches her, and she goes, "How could you lie to me?" He's like, "Hey, you were the one that said to make my clones look a little bit more real."
Oh my.
And so then that whole thing ends, and then the funniest moment that I had seen when watching this is the end credit scene where, everyone's standing there and everything, and, they're talking about, yeah, it's gonna be a peaceful day for the kingdom and everything. And then she says, "Naruto, I have a proposition for you." And I'm like, all right, she's gonna she's gonna be one of the new cast members. I'm all right with this. We got a new village to have in the ranks and everything. And then she goes, "Would you be willing to help me with the next generation?"
No, the way you told me last night was, "Can you help me make the next generation?"
And I was like, at first I was like, all right. I don't know what and I was looking at it, I was like, all right. And then it clicked, I was like, oh no. No. And then I was like, the entire time I was like, no, we can't do this. We can't do this.
This is a kid show.
And I was like,
it's like Disney.
I was like, wait, we can't do this. What about Hinata?
He literally said, "But wait, canon."
I wasn't the type to be like, "Oh, I ship Naruto and Sakura," because I knew way beforehand they ain't getting together. She been chasing after Sasuke the entire time. And I'm like, what about Hinata? I'm like, we still need the love confession between these two. And everyone else just dropped. They're just like, "Are you serious? Did she seriously just ask this?" And then Naruto's like, he laughs it off. He goes, "Sure, I wouldn't mind training the next generation." And I'm like, "Are you serious, my dude?
You're stupid."
And then he's like, and everyone's just like, "This dude's
absolute buffoon.
This dude's an idiot." And you see Shikamaru like, "Oh god." And then Sakura runs over.
What a drag.
And then Shikamaru runs over. And freaking Sakura runs over and she goes, "You idiot!" Bah! And then that's when it just ends. And I was like, alright, that was a funny moment.
But again, the events that happen in this one doesn't seem to affect him whatsoever. Is it ever truly mentioned that his clones are more real or whatever that crap means?
I mean, kinda. You're like, I think that's the only thing that's actually.
So the thing that we've gotten, the character development we've gotten from that is the fact that he makes better clones.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. That could have easily been done throughout the series. Okay, I was told, and an argument for this, I might have to skip over my Boruto one, but the argument for, some anime movies that doesn't need to be part of, continuity is just because the creators wanted to put their characters into a different scenario because they think it would be good.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, go for it. I'm not saying that it makes the movie less enjoyable. I'm just saying that in the back of my mind, I will be thinking about what part of the canon is this a part of? What part of the timeline this falls in? Right. So, for example, when I talked to my friend, Kenneth, he, like I said, he is one I've told you who's a huge One Piece fan, has watched the entire series thrice.
Yeah.
He's seen it 3 times, and I'm just kind of like, oh my god, that's amazing. And he's seen all the movies that go with it. None of the movies are like in the manga. So these movies are strictly like their own little scenarios. They don't add anything to the plot or anything. It's literally the creator saying, I want to see him in this scenario.
Yeah.
I want to see him in this scenario. We get, and I understand, I would love to see my characters in different, like, what-if scenarios.
Yeah.
But if you make it feel like it's a part of the canon, okay. Good example of this, and then I'm going to talk about my bad examples. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go more current, because that's my extent when it comes to anime movies.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tie-in movies. So, good example, Mugen Train.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, Mugen Train literally starts off right off the heels from season 1. Mm-hmm. Already, sequence of events already established. This is right after season 1, where they get into town, and freaking Inosuke and Tanjiro just kind of like, whoa! Yeah. So, you know, all the events that happen on there is actually part of canon. It was supposed to happen. He's supposed to, like, fight that demon, because that demon is part of the upper 3. He's part
of the 12.
He's part of the 12. Part of the 12 Kizuki.
Yeah.
Because he's the low
Kizuki. I was like, well, that doesn't.
He's the lower rank, right?
Or no? Or you're talking about Enmu? Enmu is.
I know we probably talked about it.
Yeah, he's one of the lower ones.
Yeah, I know he's part of the lower moons because it's because of Swordsmith arc. We'll get to that. Swordsmith arc is when we start fighting the upper ranks. Mm-hmm. But so Enmu, part of the lower ranks, he's a main character that's already been pre-established because we know he's part of the main bad guys. Heads up with the main bad guys. We already know that he was meant to die. It's in the manga and everything. So, you know, that makes complete sense. I enjoyed that movie, and it helped me be like, okay, well, this is part of the series. But then I got a little bit disappointed when you told me that, well, they kind of rehashed the movie in the series. They retold it not in a different way, but they retold it. So I'm like, dang it, with added scenes. So I'm like, dang it, I'm gonna have to see Rengoku die again because I still have to see season 2. So that's like a good example of.
Technically, we gotta see him die a third time.
Shut up. Hush your mouth! I know what you're talking about. They haven't announced the anime version of that yet, buddy.
No, it's not for the game.
Hush your mouth! I'm not talking about that. I'm kidding you. But no. So, but I mean, you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's part of the series. It's already pre-established. I'm like, okay, cool. Questionable continuity or questionable canonicity. Mm-hmm. The My Hero Academia movies. Mm-hmm. All of them. Well, I haven't seen 2 Heroes. I'm talking about Heroes Rising and World Mission. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So those 2, especially World Mission, I have... Okay. So I know that Heroes Rising, 2 Heroes was released right before season 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you've seen 2 Heroes.
I've seen all.
I know you've seen all of them, but
yeah. Go ahead.
So in 2 Heroes, I only want you to answer this one question for me. What powers does Deku have access to? In 2 Heroes.
Oh, in 2 Heroes?
Yeah.
Only Air Force.
So he has access to Air Force, but this came right after season 2.
Mm-hmm. What?
Remember, 2 Heroes is the one where we meet All Might's previous sidekick, the American guy, and we meet the American guys.
We meet David.
We meet David, and we meet David's daughter.
Yeah, Melissa.
Yes.
At that point, no, he did not know Air Force. Okay. At that point, all he knew how to do was just do full counting.
Okay.
Just full counting, and then just percentage wise, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so
at that point, that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, but it's never like, okay. So the reason why I'm saying
when we get into Heroes Rising.
Yeah, Heroes Rising. I know in Heroes Rising, that's when he has access to.
That's when he has.
That's when he gains Air Force.
Fight with gentle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fight with Gentle and stuff like that. That happens.
Yeah.
And then when we get into World's Mission, he has Black Whip.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
So, the reason why I'm making such a big fuss about this, and it's only because the way the anime has been set up, each season flawlessly seams into each other. There's no parts where there's a break where this movie could have happened. Like this very big epic event. So, okay, my example that I brought up earlier, the fight against Nine, where Deku is is transferring his powers to Bakugo, and how I'm just like, that's a really big plot point, and if that's the case, this changes what's going to happen in the anime. Well, that they wrote that off very easily by saying, 1, Bakugo passed out before the transfer could be completed, and 2, he doesn't remember. All he wakes up and he says is, my arm's freaking hurt. That's it. And I'm just kind of like,
because originally that was the end point that Horikoshi was going to make.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't because the movie wanted it. So then that literally meant Horikoshi had to sit here and rethink of a totally new ending. So the way My Hero is going to end now is totally different than how it was going to end. So we have no clue if that whole thing is still going to come back up.
Yeah.
Because Nine's still relevant in the manga.
Nine is still relevant in the manga? Is he...
There's one point in the manga where, like, it has a panel. It's like when they show like little panels of like different interaction things going on. Nine shows up in one of those panels.
Okay.
So Nine shows up.
He at least is kind of.
He's a little bit canon to the plot.
But the thing is,
if you're wondering about, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. But like, if you're wondering about, is Melissa canon? Is David canon? Melissa is canon. Only reason being, I am gonna spoil you on a little bit. But this is the latest one.
Okay, so she's mentioned in the latest one.
Yeah. It's when Deku gets this gauntlet type thing, like gauntlet bracelet type thing.
Yeah. That
Melissa makes for him in the first film, and she isn't the actual one who gives it to him, but All Might gets it to him, and the thing All Might says is, "It's a good thing we got this from overseas before they shut down." Basically saying, it's a good thing Melissa made this for you before we couldn't get it from overseas. Meaning, Melissa made the gauntlet.
Yeah, so she is canon. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing about that. No, so I completely understand. So she is canon.
Yeah.
But the thing is, was she supposed to be canon this whole time? Was it...
I don't know the mind of Horikoshi, but
I know
from what I consider, I think he meant for it to be canon, because he was, in his mind, probably, he was like, alright, I know this is going to have a payoff later on down the line.
I know. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain this properly, so I'm hoping that you'll be able to understand, and I'm hoping that the audience are able to understand. So, what happened in the first movie wasn't mentioned until this latest season, where it's kind of like, not like a rush to be like, oh, I need to make sure this is canon. Here's this bracelet. Mm-hmm. Not bracelet, but this gauntlet. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, well, it feels like a kind of like a rush job, or just kind of like, here's a mention of the first movie. I know I'm like 5 seasons away from when that movie first released, but here's a mention of it. This is how it's canon. Like, this is the effect that came out from that.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, I mean, we still get a payout. We still are shown that the first movie is canon. That's a weak payout.
Yeah.
And, okay, so another one, World's Mission. Mm-hmm. Very epic, worldwide. Fleckturn tried to... wanted a reason to eradicate all of Quirks. That's such an epic thing that's happened.
And also the fact that we also got introduced to the other heroes around the world.
Yeah. Don't remind me of Salam. I'm still pissed about him.
I'm not going to remind you. The series will remind you itself.
Salam, what do you do? turns sideways.
This latest season will remind you itself.
But, so, okay, yeah, sorry. So, continuing on. Like, we have, like, this possibly world-ending event.
Mm.
First off, we don't technically know what part of the series this takes place in. Well, okay, I can kind of guess.
Mm.
It takes place after season 4. This movie released in the middle of season 5, right?
During the because that was when they switched the arcs around for My Villain Academia.
Okay, so this happened during season 5, isn't it? I know Deku starts to learn Black Whip. Does he learn it Does he learn it in season 5?
Because that's the.
Because by the end of season 4,
parallel thinking.
Yeah, because in the end of Parallel 4, the end of season 4, he learns Air Force. So by the end of season 4, because this is as much as I can understand, end of season 4, he learns Air Force. And then I know you start talking about, when season 5 was airing and I was like not catching up, he was like, yo, Deku got access to Black Whip. You know things are about to go down. I'm just kind of like, dang it. Now I know he learns Black Whip. But then when I saw the movie, I was like, okay, so he has access to Black Whip. This, of course, happens during season 5. I can imagine that the way season 5 was going, there was no point where there was a break for them to obviously go on this world's mission.
Yeah.
And you've seen all the way up to the finale of season 6. Is world's mission mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a week?
By saying, is World Heroes mission mentioned, they don't mention Flecturn at all.
Okay, but, that's what I mean. I'm sorry, I scratched.
No, you can. But it's just nothing but a scratch.
A scratch.
No, but when I say that World's Heroes mission is mentioned, the heroes from the other countries are mentioned.
And do they? Do those heroes be like, "I've seen you before"? No.
There's an instance where the different heads of the countries, like we have the president, the prime minister, and everything like that, all of them actually meet to the point where they're trying to figure out what to do about this higher arching threat.
Okay.
To the point where the U.S. already said, yeah, it's a little bit too late for that. Our number one already left.
Okay.
And Salam's, Egypt, they're like, yeah, Salam ain't having it. And, yeah, Red Dot ain't having it either. And those are the only two that were mentioned at that point.
Okay.
They're like, we wanna go and help our friend All Might, but
see, that's just the thing, is like, these movies happen, and I guess we're supposed to assume that they're part of the canon.
When you hear when season 7 actually starts, I'm letting you know this now. So yeah, guys, I'm about to let all of you know. So, when Season 7 actually starts, you are actually going to get an interesting backstory on the number one hero from the U.S.
Okay.
Which may be a tie-in
to the movie.
From the first movie.
Okay. Alright, you know what? I'll accept that. I'll accept that. I just still have my gripes.
Yeah. No, I got you.
Because, I can only imagine, I don't know... When these movies released, because I asked you this specifically, I said, when these movies released, were they mentioned in the manga beforehand? Was this supposed to happen? Because I remember you saying, because you was reading the manga and you was current with it, when the movies released, they kind of did an advertisement type of thing to the movie, but it wasn't this happened beforehand, because by the time season 2 came out, they were, I think, already in season 3 content in the manga.
Yeah, we were already in season 3 content.
And then and then in the manga at that point, they kind of did an advertisement to the first movie.
Yeah.
But, the first movie took place in season 2, but the manga was in season 3.
Yeah.
That's my thing. That's the thing that I'm trying to talk about, is I'm just kind of like...
And that's at this point, the source material was way ahead than where the anime was. So.
The source material, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're mentioning the movie, and the movie is supposed to happen in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a really weird way of describing it. I still enjoyed the movies, no matter what. I was like, yo, the freaking fight, the fight against Nine, the fight against freaking Fleckturn, like, all those fights was freaking epic. I enjoyed those no matter what. But I still have to think, what part of the canon does this actually take place in?
Yeah.
Because we have all these things, we have all this development that's happened. Freaking Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki. Bakugo has a hard time working with Todoroki and Deku, but he works together with them in World's Mission because they're separated. Because Deku is labeled as a criminal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, that sounds like such an affecting thing. And, like, you know, you're like, oh, great, Bakugo's finally, he's learning, it's rough, but he's learning how to work with them. But in the anime, we still see Bakugo being the hothead that he is, until I know that events are happening now, he's starting to, like, actually change.
Yeah.
Like I said, I still need to catch up. Because World's Mission released in 5. I don't know what's happening to Bakugo in season 5. All I know is, like, what's happening to him in 4, which is he has to take care of some kids. I'm sorry.
I'm not spoiling that for you. You're gonna have to wait for that.
I mean, I know about the kids.
No, I'm saying
You're talking about season 5.
For 5 and 6.
5 and 6, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna watch that today. I don't know. I'm gonna start binge watching My Hero Academia again. Because things are happening, and I'm learning about it. Like, you know, I'm seeing clips of freaking Vigilante. I need to not talk about season 6. But all I can say is Vigilante Deku, what happened? What happened, my dude?
Why do you think every time we go and talk about this, why do you think I always tell you, you ain't ready? You ain't ready.
You ain't ready. But okay, so we're talking about this, and alright, why am I talking about this? Why do I feel like this is such an important thing to talk about right at this very moment? Well, a few weeks ago, Swordsmith Arc was released. We've already released our episode, well, but hopefully by this point, we would have already released our episode about our talk with that.
It would have said something along the lines of our experience with Demon Slayer's sword arc, or something like that.
So there's a good way to do a tie-in movie, which was Mugen Train. There's a bad way to do a tie-in movie. It technically wasn't even a tie-in movie. It was, we're going to show you the last 2 episodes and then episode 1. Yep. So if anything, I'm watching the anime.
Pretty much.
That's not a movie. Yeah. You're just making me watch the anime.
You're basically like, hey, we're going to tease you a little bit. Here's the first look at episode 1. Why? Because I talked to a friend yesterday about it.
I'm sorry, this is turning into a rant.
Yeah, sorry, but so I talked to one of my friends about it yesterday to get their opinion. They only watched like the first episode of Demon Slayer, and so he was just like, "Oh, let me know how give me your experience." He goes, "Dude, that sounds like something that would be done at like a Comic-Con convention." Yeah, that would just be like, "All right, here's a sneak peek at." What's to come? Here's a sneak peek at episode 1 of season 3. Yeah. Let's take a look. Then we get the first episode. Yeah. That would have been. That seems like something that would be done at Comic-Con, not in a freaking movie theater filled with a bunch of fans
that are waiting for new content,
a new content to hit, and then you just don't.
So. I know we've been talking about anime a lot, and I know the episode is running on a little bit longer, but let me compare this to something that I know a lot of people have seen. Let's compare how anime tie-in movies do it to how the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. What happens in the movie affects everything that happens within the cinematic universe. Let's see. Iron Man 1. I think that was the one movie that actually started everything. Yeah. Technically, chronological wise, it's Captain America, but Iron Man came out before Captain America, so I'm saying Captain America kind of started off this whole dominoes effect. So, okay. Actually, you know what? Let's go back. Rewind. Captain America, what happens in there affects everything that starts happening afterward, because is it called the Tesseract in Captain America?
Yeah, the Tesseract.
Okay, so he has the Tesseract. He dies. He gets frozen in a lake with the Tesseract.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's brought over to present day. Before Captain America wakes up, we have Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then the events of what he starts affecting other villains, which then affects, the entire cinematic universe. Because from Iron Man, we get Thor, and I think with the inclusion of Thor and the outer space, we get the inclusion of Guardians of the Galaxies. Yep. And it's not just relegated to the movies. You also have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is what was in response to Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
The first Avengers that came out, from my knowledge.
First Avengers that came out, yep, that was the whole spiel thing. And then and it was weird because whatever got affected within the cinematic universe translated to
the TV shows.
All right, now things are going to change in the TV show. And
the TV shows, basically what they do is that what has happened in New York is affecting things outside of New York as well. Because I don't know where, I've never seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. located in New York, or does it take place in a different city? Because I know I've seen Luke Cage, and I know that Luke Cage takes place in Chicago, and they say, yeah, man, the alien crap that happened in New York, that's real. Like, Luke Cage is the most non-Marvel Cinematic Universe thing, but it's so Marvel Cinematic Universe at the same time.
So, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it's weird because at first it starts off in New York.
Yeah.
And then it spans from New York to different, just all over the place. It goes into space. It goes does time travel type deals. And you have LMDs, like freaking AI life forms that actually want to be in a human body type thing to recreate its own image type deal and play God. And I'm not getting into all that, but
but basically what I'm saying is the Marvel
when
Cinematic...
you get a chance, you need to watch it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s already done, but you have time to binge it.
But, that's kind of like what I'm saying. Is I'm not saying I want anime to be like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but if anything, it helps. The Marvel Cinematic Universe shows that you can have different media, shows, and movies still make like canonical sense. Because even if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is way off from the Avengers, like the Avengers and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. don't really cross over. The only thing that cross over is Agent Coulson. Mm-hmm. And technically I think that Agent Coulson is like either Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a prequel or the Coulson that's in there is like a clone or some sort. I don't know. Mm-hmm. All I know is that Agent Coulson is an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I was like, what? Isn't he dead though? From the second Avengers.
Yeah.
Yes, second Avenger. This has been so long since I've seen it. So yeah, I'm sorry. That was a little bit of a rant. But, I'm not saying I want anime to be just like that. But it kind of helps if things can kind of fall perfectly in line where I'm just kind of like, all right, this takes place during this time. This affects this. This is what affects the character to think like this. Because we could see in the cinematic universe, even the characters that aren't exactly in the movie, the events that happen are still widespread and known, and we can be like, all right, because another good example, Luke Cage, season 1 and season 2, there's actually like a big skip of time, because in 2, Luke Cage has been in some other movie, in some other show, I forgot exactly what the show is, but a lot has happened to him in a different show to where it's affecting him and the rest of that. It's just continuity, being able to kind of like place an actual timeline and be like, all right, this. I just like being able to specifically be like, all right, this is exactly when this happened. Yeah. Because if you look at something like I said, My Hero Academia. Yeah. Those movies happened. I can't exactly pinpoint when exactly in the series this happened. This happened vaguely during this season, but what time? Because the students couldn't have had time to do this because what happened in season 1 or season 2 flowed exactly into season 3 and stuff like that was happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only thing I have to say. Sorry.
No,
That was my point.
You're good. Yeah. I guess before we end off, I guess we'll pass it on to them.
Yeah.
So
what are some other anime movie tie-ins?
What did you think of what we had to say? Do you think that anime and the whole movie tie-in should they still remain a thing? Should they, if you have an anime movie, should it still be adjacent to the actual show in and of itself?
Yeah, like if a series decides to make a movie, should that movie be a part of that series? Or could it pull like a One Piece where I have this scenario that I want to see the students in.
Yeah.
Therefore, I want them to do this.
Yeah. But yeah. I guess.
That's it.
Alright. So. We've been talking for so long.
We don't know how to end this. Alright. Well, hold on. Okay. So, thank you all for coming in. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And we hope that you enjoyed your visit to the Underground Geek Shack. See you guys.
Maestro.